and welcome back. In today's video, we're going to go over our HYROX training part 2. In our first video, we talked all about what we were planning to do for HYROX and how we were going to plan our training blocks. And today's video is more so of an update to see how we've been doing and where we're going to go from here. So we're two sisters and we're going to be training for the HYROX doubles this May in Ottawa, May 16th to be exact. So let's jump into our video.
So a couple of reminders. This is phase 2, like Taba mentioned. Phase 1, you can watch our previous video. This foundation was really about our build phase to increase our intensity, our duration, our time, our distance, in addition to what our base that we built in phase 1. This will allow us to work towards our fitness goals by enhancing where we already are. This will hopefully for HYROX allow us to meet our performance targets for the race. Really it is at this point for us to finish and do our best. With the race date quickly approaching, I think we're both starting to get a little nervous. So I know I'm glad that we had this plan from the beginning, because then it's more about execution than thinking, what am I going to do next? Oh my God, there's only X amount of weeks left. How do I best use my time? Those thoughts are still creeping in. So for HYROX, our progression is really about our performance targets, but in other programming, it might be where this is about more building strength, getting faster, training towards specific goal or a more intense goal. So that might be that, training for a 5K, a 10K, if you started out, with just a couple of kilometers or even only running 5 or 10 minutes. But for us, it really is about then being able to be well conditioned for the race, being able to do each station well, and to be able to, get to the end of the race and not feel like we left anything in the tank, but also that we gave it our best.
And also doing it safely. We want to get through it injury-free and just make sure that we're feeling good by the end of it.
2 other reminders. This is where we are building on our performance, but it's not necessarily about training each specific station, at least not for us and at least not yet. The other thing is that this is where real life starts to set in with phase 1. I think that you're still ambitious, you're motivated, everything is shiny and new, and here's where real life really starts to creep in. When I got into phase 2, one of the things that I had been really looking forward to was kicking off phase 2 with a HYROX simulation. I had managed to snag a ticket in a community event, and the day before that, I had actually tweaked my back. I was foam rolling, and it's really frustrating because I was doing that as something to help keep me limber, keep me from getting too tight muscles, but that's just the way it is. And so I took myself out of that. I knew that I just needed to listen to my body. And then I was resting for a couple of days. I managed to get a ticket to a secondary event, which was testing out a new gym actually that was HYROX specific in Ottawa. And they were going to just, it was going to be like a workout, but not necessarily a full simulation. And because that was 2 weeks away from when I had been injured, I was really listening to what my body needed. And in the end, it ended up that it was essentially 2 weeks of rest. I was able to do that event. It was really cool. There was a friend of mine that I saw there, and I found out a few other people that I knew were doing the event upcoming in May, either singles or doubles. And I will insert some pictures. They had a photographer, and it just was so cool to see yourself be strong and visualize yourself doing the stations.
So I attended this HYROX event today. It was a pop-up that's going to be around in Ottawa for 9 or so months. I'm actually thinking of joining that as a gym. Maybe I would more go for specific sessions as opposed to a monthly membership. It was great after being on a training recovery for the past 2 weeks. And so I really enjoyed it. I was sweating so much. I was I was feeling like there's a lot of improvement that I can still make. It wasn't a HYROX simulation or anything, but it did allow us to go through most of the stations. It was the first time that I'd ever used the ski erg machine. It also had the genuine carpets for the sled pull and the sled push. Um, and we basically did like you found a partner and you did a couple of stations. So they were cardio stations and then strength stations. And for the strength stations, sometimes you were rotating on exercises. Other times you did actually get a break. And then some of the other ones, like so for the row machine, one person was rowing and then your partner did 2 laps, and once they did finish the laps, then they would switch off. That other person would be rowing, the other person would be doing the laps. So they did the same things for ski erg, the bike, and the rowing machine. Then there was a sled pull station, a sled push station that you traded off and on, and then there was a um, burpee broad jump and sandbag lunge station. So you would trade off on that. It was really good. By the end of it, I was completely gassed, but I felt strong from it. I didn't re-injure myself in my lower back, but I am feeling a little bit of tension in my upper back on one side, so I'll just keep an eye on that. But I'm hoping to get back into my full training regime going into this week. So today is Saturday. Maybe tomorrow I will do just a spin bike ride for fun, just to make sure that everything is still feeling good. And then from there, I'll go back to what I had programmed.
But around there as well, I got really busy with work. So I had already taken 2 weeks of rest. I did do that one training event. But then 2 weeks with a really hectic schedule, overtime every day, including weekends, and I just didn't really have much in the tank left for fitness. So I knew it was going to be temporary. It was unfortunate. I kept on telling myself that I would continue to work out through it, but because it was also coinciding with the month of Ramadan, it was really difficult. So that was then another 2 weeks. After that, I got really sick. Obviously, working really hard, not having good or the same nutrition, like your sleep pattern changing, it wasn't a recipe for success. And so then I got really sick, and that was another 2 weeks. So that's almost 6 weeks out of like what? I think maybe we had 8, 9 weeks in this phase, and it was just it was a setback. But I tried to where I could, either if it was like a 5-10 minute workout, even just do stretching, do some walking. I wasn't able to do as much as I wanted in that first half of the training block. The second half, I did get more consistent. Halfway through phase 2, Peloton had released the HYROX 12-week program. We were both really excited about that. And what helped me was like after 6 weeks essentially of setbacks, to be able to like follow that program and then just not need to think about it. I really liked that. So I did tweak the schedule a little bit. Days that I wanted to go where I have access to a treadmill, then I would go and I would do some of the runs. But then I would, at home, I would there was days where they had like a conditioning and running. I wasn't good about like doing like 2 workouts in a day. So if there was like a strength piece and a running piece, like I would just do one a lot of the time. And then I also replaced some of the runs with bike rides because I have a spin bike at home. And so that was like a bit of a compromise for me. I knew I wasn't doing like 100% of what I wanted to do, but definitely was at least like, I think getting the job done. And then now coming into less than 6 weeks to go until our event, I am starting to think, how do I go into this final phase to maximize my results? So I'll talk maybe a bit more about that after.
I'll talk a little bit about my journey over the last, maybe end of phase 1 and going into phase 2. So my phase 1 was extremely successful. I was able to do the running plan that I had set aside. I also completed 4 weeks of the split plus run with Jess Sims. And then I did another 2 weeks with Asal Aryan in German, like Eric Jager we talked about last time. We love their programming. So that had been what I set out to do. Finish the running program, do 4 weeks of a new running program, and then just do like a 2 week kind of transition into phase 2. And then when phase 2 came around, that really coincided with the HYROX program being released. And what I really like about it is it's a 12-week program, which is like one of the longest programs I think I've seen on the app. Every single week there's different classes and obviously different programming that kind of help you build week to week towards your actual goal of competing. Just in terms of the program itself, it was quite challenging to keep up with the amount of workouts that they had. I believe in weeks like 1 through 3, it was already 5 days a week of working out. And then after that, it goes up to, I think, 6. The boot camps were crazy hard, but really good. I think my highest Strive score was on the very first one with Robin. It was like 96 or something like that, which is a very, very high in case, just for reference. Like usually my workouts maybe somewhere between like 20 and 30, and this was like 90. So it was way harder than usual. It was quite challenging, honestly, to keep up with the weekly schedule. I am on week 3, just finishing week 3, but technically I think it's probably around week 5 or week 6 of where I should have been. And like Fatima said, Ramadan was really challenging because you may not have the nutrition, energy, or sleep to really get through those workouts. And so there were often times where I just really had to pick something really light or stretching or going for a walk or something like that on those weeks. And just reminding myself that it's all cumulative. And even if you miss a couple of days or a couple of weeks, it doesn't mean that you won't be able to reach your goals. So we really had to temper our expectations and really accept that. And so now what I'm going to do is I finished basically weeks 1, 2, and 3. And what I'm now going to do is actually skip forward to week 7 because I believe that's when the programming has a bigger shift towards like more race day prep. I'm going to do that for a couple more weeks. And then because I just like finishing programs, I probably will finish the program through Peloton afterwards. But it was just like I wanted to get it done on the timeline that they had given. It was just a bit too tight. And it was also like a lot of double workouts. So there would be like a 45-minute run plus a 30-minute wait. It's like that's a lot of time that I just, real life was happening and I couldn't do it all. So that's okay. I just took the days as they came and definitely ran a lot more. I actually increased my pace targets from a 1 to a 2, which is really big for me because I thought I'd be at 1 forever. But I was able to change my pace targets, and that was really, really like a testament to how far we've come, and hopefully that means that we'll be able to do this race and not feel completely burnt out. Another really great thing that we both accomplished was we were able to hit our 100-day streak in 2026. So there was a badge that was available, and if you look through our history, you might see a couple of mine that say "Just Walk." For 1 second because I couldn't do anything more than that. But most of them are real workouts.
And sometimes it's like, you did something that wasn't in the Peloton app. You went for a walk or something. I know I did, where I would do some stretching. And so then I would still mark it off. I will say that like with a couple of weeks, well, almost a month and a half, where I wasn't able to work out as consistently, but I was actually still doing my Peloton because I had started doing quite a bit of the meditation. And so, yeah, we both had the 100-day streak. Great job. And it was good. Like even sometimes it was like 11 o'clock when we would remind each other or check in, hey, didn't see that you got your activity for the day. Make sure to record something, do something. And it actually like it can seem a little like, oh, like what does that really mean as a digital badge? But I think we both really wanted to prove that we could do it. Other tools that we had used, we had printed off like a calendar. We had really wanted to like fill out for every number of the month for the entire month and then across the year to color in every time you did a workout. I was honest. And so there are a fair number of them where like I didn't do like really the workout that I wanted. It's not that I didn't move all of those days, but it was definitely different than I was expecting of myself going into phase 2. But I think now it's like, okay, how do we get to phase 3? One of the other things that is part of real life is that sometimes you're not at home. So right now, you can see that, I guess you don't know where we live, but this is not our house. We're actually visiting a cousin in Mexico. And so this morning we went out pretty early, went for a run together to beat the heat, but also just to kind of like strategize a little bit about what we wanted this video to be, how we are going to be transitioning into phase 3, which is like essentially we're 3 days already into where phase 3 should be. So we really need to adjust our approaches for that. So I think similar to her, I am going to move into week 7 of the app, but I'm also thinking through, like, I know that my cardio and my running isn't where I need to be. So if I have to favor something over something else, I think the strength training I already have. Yes, obviously there's some more strength conditioning that I could do, but my focus is going to be on the running and on the boot camp. So that way we can have more running and then transitioning between running and the stations. So I think that's where like my focus is going to be. We'll update you in the next video in terms of like what the exact programming ended up looking like. But yeah, you can only go forward.
Exactly. And we're just remembering that our goal this whole time was just to finish. If we finish it in less than 2 hours, great. If we finish it in more than 2 hours, great. It doesn't really matter as long as by the end of it, we feel like Tima said, we gave it our all. We left nothing else on the table, but we also feel like we did it safely and that we're just like happy with how we did in our performance.
Some of the things that we'll make a separate video for phase 3, obviously, but we're starting to think through, and you know what, in an ideal world, maybe we would have thought of some of this stuff as well before, but like if we need to fuel ourselves during the race, so I think we're both thinking candy, it'll be easier and we'll have more experience. I have never eaten a gel and think that a month out from the race is not the best time to start doing that, but definitely I think some candy. We were thinking if we're going to have gloves or if we're going to use the chalk that they have. We need to read the rules.
She's going to try out my shoes. She doesn't have a good pair of running shoes, so she's going to use my shoes. So thank you so much for watching our video, and let us know if you have any questions for phase 3. We'll definitely make sure we film another video as well as afterwards to talk about our race experience.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Wish us luck.